Gon and Killua are back in Hunter x Hunter after 12 years, and it's not just a one-off panel because Kurapika has just recruited them for the Succession War, where they might actually be the ones to save Kurapika from his inevitable death and even reach the Dark Continent. But how are Gon and Killua gonna get involved when they didn't board the Black Whale 1? Well, it seems like Togashi has planned out a mini arc for the boys in the mainland until we reach the Dark Continent. But with how broken Nanika is, reaching the Dark Continent is still possible. But before we get to why Gon and Killua are back, we have 5 minutes before the special martial law is declared by First Prince Benjamin in his quest to become a Nen god. To do this, the other princes, specifically the older, stronger ones, must all die. So one of Benjamin's men, Kanji doll, is killing one of 7th Prince Luzurus's guys. Meanwhile, Rice, one of the 2nd Queen Dwazel's bodyguards, visits Luzurus and informs him of the presence of Benjamin's soldiers in front of Hulkenberg's room. Luzurus knows right away that special martial law is about to be declared and orders his men to not resist at all and let Benjamin's soldiers have their way. He also orders his drugs in the master bedroom to be tossed away or burned before that gets used to arrest him. This is also probably the first time we have seen this man sober in the entire Succession War. Luzurus doesn't want to give a single excuse to Benjamin to kill him. Meanwhile, Kanji doll gets caught in the act of murdering the staff by Ridge, one of the hunters assigned to Luzurus alongside Basho. Ridge could already tell Kanji doll did not kill in self-defense, so they prepare for a fight. At the same time, in front of Hulkenberg's room, Yoshihi, one of Benjamin's boys and the man responsible for 8th Prince Salesale's death, prepares to add another one to the list. Any sudden response inside Hulkenberg's room will be taken as a sign of treason. Yoshihi's Nen ability, Stand By Me, produces a stinger ball that attaches itself to the target and kills anyone who moves 20 meters away from the user. This Hatsu comes with drawbacks though. The stinger ball makes a buzzing noise only Nen users can hear, which is good for identifying targets who can use Nen, but it also means the stinger ball can easily be removed and Yoshihi can never use this ability on the same target again. This makes his ability terrible in battle against Nen users, but Yoshihi grants his ability to Chamashi through the latter's Nen ability, King of Men, a manipulation type semi-compulsory Hatsu where he grants the volunteer invincibility for the period of time Chamashi has touched them, but in exchange, once the ability is dispelled, the user enters a forced Zetsu state for 100 times the duration of the invincibility period, and after the Zetsu ends, the user suffers 1/3 of the total damage negated by the shield as recoil from the user's aura. And this ability does not negate the damage of mutual cooperation type attacks where multiple Nen users collaborate. In short, an ultimate shield given to someone else that steals away your Hatsu for a long time after its use and could possibly kill you with just 1 fraction of the damage you take. Their mission is to take down 9th Prince Hulkenberg, who Benjamin knows is in the body of his former right-hand man Basamilko, through Hulkenberg's body swapping Nen ability. However, this chapter we aren't gonna be focusing on that, as we jump back to Kurapika and the 14th Prince Wobble's room, where the last time we were here, we learned that the Prince Wobble Kurapika has been protecting for the past 14 days is a fake, as the child is actually Queen Oito's nephew. The real Wobble did give his blood to the seed urn to join the Succession War to start the contest, but now no one knows where Wobble is, not even his own mother. That's why fake Wobble hasn't produced a Nen beast like the other princes this whole time. What is interesting is that one of the restrictions of the Succession War is that none of the princes can see each other's guardian spirit beast or their own, even if they are nen users. It's almost like that restriction was designed by Togashi with baby switches like wobles in mind. However, Kurapika has a new problem now. He needs to protect 2 babies now, since when he accepted the job at the hotel, he pledged to protect the real woble. Beyond NETERO's kids are all over the Kakin army, and they all have nen curses programmed to kill the Kakin princes, except the secret prince child of Beyond NETERO himself, who is likely 4th Prince Saradnik. And since Kurapika has no info on these curses, it's possible that even from far away, woble would still be in danger. And according to nen exorcists, Beyond NETERO's nen curse is the most powerful one in existence that not even the best nen exorcists can remove. Furthermore, the maid Shimaru is used by Togashi brilliantly to highlight the dilemma Kurapika went through as well. Kurapika did accept the job because he wanted to get Saradnik's scarlet eyes, but he also felt sympathy for the real woble. He wanted to protect an innocent baby from becoming a victim of a nen death battle royale. But the baby he spent 2 weeks with was an imposter. This wouldn't change Kurapika's commitment one bit though. Both wobles are victims of Kakin's politics, so his choice of love over revenge has not been subverted. However, Shimaru the maid knew about the 2 babies the moment she arrived on the black whale, when she began changing the baby's diaper, that she was caring for a boy, not a girl. But like Kurapika, when he first took the job, Shimaru stared at the baby and realized it did not matter. The mission was still the same, and the same goes for Kurapika. So Kurapika presents 2 critical problems to Queen Oito: Beyond NETERO's curse and the location of the real 14th Prince woble. If the condition for becoming a target of Beyond's curse is official participation in the succession contest, the real 14th Prince is safe. However, if the condition is having undergone the seed urn ceremony, there is a possibility that the prince is a target despite not participating. Kurapika has also detected nen fluctuations all over the room, meaning the curse might be targeting the fake woble instead of the real one. Kurapika also considers using Stealth Dolphin, the ability of his index finger chain, to steal Beyond NETERO's nen ability, but if Kurapika fails to meet the activation requirements, he will die. Bill suggests negotiating with Beyond NETERO, which is sus since Beyond is actually Bill's secret boss. Now, they could offer Beyond temporary amnesty or the removal of his restraints, but this presents a whole plethora of other issues. Yup, this whole chapter, like every time Kurapika shows up, it's like one problem is introduced and the problem has like 2 different solutions, but then the 2 different solutions have 2 different problems to be solved, and then those solutions have like a whole tree of problems and solutions. Bro, what is Hunter x Hunter even about now? Like, this chapter has like over 3,000 words. Like, just write a novel at this rate, Togashi. What are these pages? Do you guys see these pages? Anyway, I'm breaking down everything for you guys, okay? Okay, let's get to the issues with allying themselves with Beyond. First of all, Beyond doesn't care about freedom and will only make a move once he has reached the Dark Continent. Second, the hunters are obligated to follow the late chairman Isaac NETERO's final will to not let his son reach the Dark Continent. Third, even if Beyond would agree to negotiate, he would clearly set a trap for Kurapika, because at the end of the day, Beyond wants that seed urn nen. After being reminded of Beyond's daughter, Longhee, Bill suggests that using contract nen abilities to gain information without much risk by casually slipping a clause about nen abilities or putting up a penalty for breaking the contract. Kurapika asks Bill why he would go so far for this gamble, especially as Beyond's man. Well, you see, Bill originally chose to guard the 14th Prince woble because he was a coward who wanted wanted to avoid all the bloodshed from the succession war. However, Beyond Netero's plan was too gross for him to follow. Beyond is willing to use his own kids as walking time bombs just to reach the Dark Continent, and he was also moved by Kurapika's selfless commitment to this dangerous mission. So Bill declares he will no longer be Beyond's pawn and wants to end the succession war. They also have the support of the Hunter Association, who do not want this death game to keep on going, so they can work together to weaken the Kakin monarchy and go for regime change. They can even get the V5 nations approval to free Beyond Netero by telling them about their mission to save the princes who were kept hostage by Beyond Netero's curse. Looks like we have a solution for problem 1 with this. But problem 2 is Wobble's location, which is a big one because Oito doesn't know where her son is, and for good reason. By not knowing where the real 14th prince is, it protects her daughter from danger. However, this is an issue now because Oito's family needs to know about Beyond Netero's curse or any other assassins in their vicinity with these freaky Nen powers. Kurapika has checked the passenger data and confirms that no infant like the real 14th prince is on board, but this is not 100% proof that Wobble is not on the Black Whale. Also, the higher ranked princes like Benjamin and Camilla need to find the real 14th prince to be sure of their victory. This means that the longer the war drags on, the more of a target the 14th prince becomes, and even if the baby is off the ship, there's still the issue of Beyond Netero's curse. So Kurapika has 2 ideas to solve both problems. Identify the mechanics of Beyond's curse and identify Beyond Netero's baby assigned to the 14th prince. Or locate the real 14th prince, protect her, and get an exorcist to remove the curse. Kurapika goes for the first solution, but at the same time, he will also ask the Hunter Association to secretly locate the real 14th prince. This will also help fulfill Longhee's contract, which, when fulfilled, will give Kurapika a power boost that could give him the edge in the confrontation against Beyond Netero and his prince baby. Finally, Kurapika asks Oito for a way to contact the real Wobble in case of an emergency. Now, Oito had every reason to keep her secrets and support 9th Prince Hulkenberg, but now that Hulkenberg is dead, at least from her perspective, and Beyond Netero's curse is a real risk to the real Wobble, Kurapika assures her that while there might be some distrustful people in the Hunter Association, he has friends he trusts more than himself. And we get the king of all comebacks with the final page, Gon and Killua on their respective journeys. For the first time since 2014, the goats are back. Yep, it's been that long. I was still in like 8th grade. I remember talking about this with my friend like over 10 years ago, man. Killua was last seen in chapter 339 on his worldwide trip with his sister. Gon's last appearance was in chapter 345 where bro was studying. But Togashi has made sure that their presence has never been forgotten because they still have pivotal roles to play in the story, especially with those colored illustrations and during chapter releases. Togashi even put Gon in the cover of volume 38, but bro snuck in a lot of clues revealing his plan for Gon and Killua's return. In page 10 of chapter 344, while Kurapika talks to Mizai Storm about dealing with monsters in human skin like Saradnik, it cuts immediately to Gon discovering he cannot produce aura. Gon was a talented Nen user who sacrificed everything to become a monster and destroy Neferpito. Saradnik is an even rarer genius who learned all the Nen basics in a single day and possesses the most evil Nen ever. Behind the scenes, Togashi had been teasing Gon's return, especially while working on chapter 414, this chapter, back in 2024. Togashi tweeted an illustration of Gon right as he was drawing this chapter. So this was basically a hint by Togashi all the way back there, like over 2 years ago, that Gon was gonna be in this chapter. And similarly, when Togashi began work on chapter 428 last February, we got a drawing of Kite providing the update. But if you look really closely, you can see the outline of Gon's jaw. This could be a big hint that Gon will come back in chapter 428. This time more involved and maybe even jump starting his Nen comeback. back. Killua might be more involved with Kurapika's mission at first though, as he is traveling with Aluka and still is a monster hunter. Killua could literally use Aluka, who has one of the 5 Dark Continent threats inside of her, to purge baby Woble's curse, even fight against whatever Nen attack the real Woble who is likely in the known world, especially since Oito gives us a way to contact the family by sending a letter through Yamato, the equivalent nation to Japan in Hunter x Hunter. Helping a baby does circumvent the promise Killua made to never use Ai for his selfish wishes and to treat her as a person. There are also ways for the boys to join the Dark Continent expedition, notably through Greed Island speedrun. Just like how in the middle of Greed Island arc, Killua speedran the whole Hunter exam to get his license, he could do the same with Greed Island during the Succession War. Bro has a literal godspeed. He could yoink all the cards and probably beat Razor and his pirates in a flash. And once he wins Greed Island, he could sneak in an accompany card just like how Gon did, which would teleport him to Bisky, who is a registered Greed Island player and is present in the Black Whale 1, and thus bringing him and Gon back to the Dark Continent or Black Whale 1 ship to the Succession War. This middle of arc switch to a different mini arc writing style has been employed by Togashi since Greed Island. Even during the Chimera Ant arc, we switched to Meteor City just before the climax to watch the Phantom Troop or Amog the Ant. Gon and Killua having their own mini arc right before the climax of the Succession War fits this style, and Kurapika recruiting them to protect Woble might be what leads to Gon getting closer to unlocking his Nen again, because remember, in chapter 344 we get a clear answer that Gon cannot create any aura. Even though Jing mentions Gon possesses Nen, he can't see or utilize its power. Every living thing in Hunter x Hunter has aura. The difference is that trained Nen users have opened their aura nodes and learned to manipulate it. Gon has that ability restricted, it seems. Now, I have made a whole dedicated video exploring how Gon will get his Nen back, so I won't go too balls deep into it right now. But once recruited by Kurapika to find Woble in the known world, Gon and Killua might have to venture to Meteor City, a place where people are forgotten and would be my first guess to hide someone super important. No one would guess that a Kakin prince was being hidden in the worst city. If Gon does appear in chapter 428, which is near the end of the planned second batch of the 2026 chapters, this means we might be seeing one of the most long-awaited matchups in manga history, Gon versus Gyro. In chapter 204 of the Chimera Ant arc, it turns out that Gyro had reincarnated as a Chimera Ant that maintained his free will, and he was in the same town as Gon and Killua were, but they never actually saw each other. The narrator hinted that they are destined to meet in the future. After the Chimera Ant arc, Welfen, one of Gyro's men, who was also made an ant, stated that he might be in Meteor City, the hometown of the Phantom Troop, to gather more villains to make a new nation. With Welfen and Hina, 2 Chimera Ants, and Bizef, the former Secretary of State and secret leader of East Gorto, Gyro could potentially replace Kakin in the mainland or even outright take over Meteor City through sheer force, destroying the legacy of the Phantom Troop and the whole point of Krollo's mission of avenging Sarasa. But even by himself, Gyro could become Gon's final villain in the main story. Even before Soradnik was introduced, we met the most evil man in the entire series, who now has the insane Nen potential of a Chimera Ant and could possibly rival the Ant King Meruem himself. But the thing is that there are only 49 days until the Succession War is over, and I doubt we are ending the arc anytime this year. Either way, Kurapika is gonna find out where the real Prince Wobble is and send Gon and Killua as bodyguard. If you guys want to know more about Gyro or how Gon can get his Nen back, watch the videos on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.